Call to order the meeting of the Public Safety Committee for Rutherford County for May. Good to see each and every one of you here this evening. We'll begin the meeting with the approval of our minutes. Vice Chairman Rather.
Thank you, Chairman Reed. I've reviewed the minutes from April 24th, found them all to be in order, and make a motion to approve as mailed.
We have a motion to approve our minutes. Do I have a second? Have a second. Commissioner James, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Our minutes have been approved. In our agenda tonight, I have been asked that if we could move OSHA report up first of the agenda, due to the fact that we have our department director couldn't be here, so we had asked that the safety coordinator be here. She became ill this evening, so we've had somebody else from the department come. Jane Corbin's going to be taking care of it tonight, and if Jane could come forward to do that, we'll make that change if it's okay with everyone, because we need to take care of this situation here for everybody and get that taken care of. So, Ms. Corbin, glad to have you with us tonight and,
me too.
And taking care of that department.
Yes, sir. So good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jane Corbin. I am the safety specialist with Rutherford County in the risk management department. So I came up here to do our OSHA report. And so we'll start with the incident frequency rate for April 2023, which is 18. Year to date is 89. Our OSHA log summary recordables is 58. Lost day claims 9, restricted day claims 37, and other recordables is 12. If you go to the next page, we have on-the-job injury claims. In 2021, we had 65. In 2022, we had 54. And 2023 was 89. Next page is going to be our on-the-job injury incurred dollars. In 2021, it was 262,000. In 2022, it was 192,000, and in 2023, it's 325,000. And then on the last page, we have injuries, and we have 13 from Board of Ed, 5 from County General, and 0 from Highway. 3 of them were at Sheriff's Department, and 2 were from Fire and Rescue. Thinking that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioners, for Safety Specialist Corbin?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Commissioner Beverly. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, your report has been approved. Thank you. We'll move now into the rest of the agenda, beginning with our Sheriff's Office report. Deputy Chief Steve Spence will take care of that for us. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. The population for the inmates this afternoon was 690. Give you an update on our staff elevator. It's 60 to 65% completed. They're ahead of schedule. And that's the end of my report, sir.
Questions on the report? Have a motion approved. Commissioner James. Second. Commissioner Sereno. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Report is approved. I believe we have a grant.
Yes, sir. We're requesting to apply for the Bureau of Justice Assistant Financial Year 23 Virtual Reality De-Escalation Site-Based Initiative Grant. This grant helps pay implementing technology designed to enhance training and law enforcement response to individuals in crisis. The program further Department of Justice mission to improve law enforcement's ability to effectively implement de-escalation approaches to encounters with individuals with crisis. There's a no match, it's 100% funding. As of right now, we don't know how much we're going to apply for, but the max is $800,000 that we could apply for.
Any questions?
Go ahead.
The max is 800,000.
Yes, sir.
Why would you not apply for the 800,000?
Yes, sir. I didn't want to come in front of the commission and say we're going to apply for the 800. We're just going to look at the the needs that we need.
Well, if that's a match, or that's the max, and there is no match, apply
Okay.
for all of it.
Yes, sir. We'll apply for 800,000.
Question. Motion to approve.
Motion approved, Commissioner
Second.
Oliver. Has second, Commissioner McMurray. Further discussion?
Chief Spence, does this exist now? Do we have this money available now, or is this a new grant?
This is a new grant that we have,
And it's a one-year grant,
a 3-year grant.
3-year grant? Very
Yes.
good, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anyone? Question or comment? Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Chief Spence,
Yes, sir.
quick question. Well, two things. First, in regards to the $230 million school resource officers that's been set back for the governor, will our district or our county still be receiving funds for those school resource officers? And I know we have them, but will we be able to use that money if they give it to us to enhance our security?
Yes, sir. Right now, we don't know the details of the grant. They're going to release that in August, but we are going to apply for what we are eligible to apply for.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
PAWS Report. Director Michael Gregory. Good evening, sir.
You have your report for April in front of you. We had 368 animals come into the shelter. We had a euthanasia percentage of 4.4%, live release rate for dogs of 91.4%, and cats were 97.5%. Once wildlife was figured into that, it came out to 93.7%. Our officers completed out 1,329 calls for the month and traveled a little over 9,400 miles. Fiscal year to date, 3,816 animals in the shelter, a 3.8% euthanasia rate, and a 93.9% live release rate. Our officers have completed 12,333 calls, traveling 89,842 miles. The next page of your report is the rabies and bite exposure for the month. We had 37 bites reported. None of those were sent for testing, and we had one other exposure that was not sent for testing as well. We've had no positive cases thus far this calendar year when it comes to rabies. And then the last page of your report is just the monthly graph that I give you all so you can see the outcomes versus euthanasia and others. And those are my report, sir.
Questions or comments?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second. Commissioner Beverly,
I have a comment.
you may.
Michael and I have had opportunities to visit a few occasions. I think our last meeting, I had a question. I got a phone call the very next morning, and the times I visited with him to discuss some things, this guy's on top of it. Extremely responsive. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Oliver, second by Commissioner Beverly. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The report has been approved.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Recovery Court report. Jail Ricks, Director.
The Recovery Court report for April, we have 166 current participants, 8 new started. We had 8 graduations and 3 terminations. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions or comments for the Director?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Commissioner Beverly.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Sereno. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Report is approved. Thank you. Probation report. Director Alicia Phillips.
Good evening. For the month of April, and I do apologize, at the very top header of this report, I noticed before I walked over here I put May, but it's actually to clarify it is the month of April. So for the month of April, we closed out 150 cases for 138 people in the month of April. We currently supervise 1,195 people on probation with our department. We had 50 individuals in our programs. We had 10 individuals successfully complete their program. And then in the month of April, we had 7 individuals that were unsuccessfully discharged from their program. With regards to our olive branch, we were able to assist 3 individuals. All 3 of those individuals were suffering from homelessness. Right now, we have 25 participants in our 10 Rocks court program. We have 6 individuals that have been assessed and are just waiting for their court date to enter the program, none of which that are incarcerated. For the month of April, with our revenue and our expenditures, that equaled a difference of $107,958.21. In the month of April, we turned over $16,750 to the clerk's office to collect on payment agreements for probation fees. In the month of April, there was an equivalent of $8,425 owed in probation fees that those individuals did not enter payment agreements with the clerk's office. So far this fiscal year, we've turned over $111,468.50 to the clerk's office to collect on probation fees, and so far this fiscal year, $62,528.50. Those individuals did not enter a payment agreement with the clerk's office for those probation fees owed. And as of the month of April, we had 11 individuals that we currently supervise that have been deemed indigent by the court. In addition, I also wanted to let this committee know that, as you guys are aware, the Rutherford Opioid Board has funds that are available for the opioid meeting in the month of June. I will be presenting to the committee and requesting funds for a new position that we've never had for that, but I wanted to go ahead. I haven't presented that to the committee yet, but I wanted this committee to be aware that that's something I intended on doing. And that would be my report.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions, comments?
Question. What would that new position be?
So this new position would be a probation counselor. It would be a licensed drug and alcohol counselor for our department. It would be very similar to a counselor position in recovery court now. That individual would do group sessions and individual sessions for those that are suffering from substance abuse. So I went through the opioid abatement for the state just to mark off everything that it would qualify for. Also sit on that committee, so I actually have kind of a general idea of what's to be expected as far as the abatement funds go. So this individual would be housed in our department and be able to provide those services in-house for those that are suffering from opioid use.
And these funds will be recurring funds because you're trying to fund a salary position, I'm assuming.
They would be recurring. However, I would have to present to the committee each year in order to qualify for that. So each year I would have to go in front of the Rutherford Opioid Board and abstain from that and request those funds to fund that position. That would also allow, of course, the question always is, when you have something that isn't recurring or you have to go before a committee and apply for every year, there's always the ability, that could be declined. So I always have to keep that in mind. But it will also allow us to have the stats to keep up with and see how successful this position can be with such a large population, because in probation, you know, in comparison, we have just in the month of April, we close out anywhere from 150 cases to 200 cases a month, actively supervise over 1,000 people every month. So we have a high volume of individuals that need those services. So that would be a challenge in itself, but it would also give a mindset as far as, you know, would this position be successful in our department? Would it satisfy exactly what we need? I truly believe that it will, but I know those funds, at least for the next 3-4 years, as far as the state funds will go. Now, the other funds are recurring for the next 18 years, but that's a different amount. So it's really a matter of whether that committee sees that I still could get that position.
Mr. James?
How are y'all currently handling the workload? Is it y'all stretched real thin for it, or you're not currently handling this, and then therefore this new position will allow you to handle a new?
So the way our probation department is structured, it's structured a whole lot differently from what a normal probation department would look like. When we developed this probation in 2016, we had more of a two-part plan in place where we have probation case managers and we have treatment case managers. We have in-house facilitated classes, anger management, domestic violence, parenting classes, things like that. I have 3 treatment case managers that facilitate those classes, and then I have 10 probation case managers that carry a workload. I myself keep up with 22 individuals that are out on bond. They're a higher risk population, so I supervise those. So generally across the board, they usually have a caseload of around 90 to 110 individuals on probation on a monthly basis. Right now, they are knocking it out of the park, because what we do when they first come is we assess them to see what their risk needs are. If they are a low-risk individual, those individuals typically only report once a month. If they're at a higher risk, they're going to report in every other week, or if they're extremely high risk, they're going to report every week. The way we do our reporting is also by appointment only. We don't leave that open-ended. It's very much like if you were to make a doctor's appointment and your work schedule was, you know, I don't get off until 4:30. We're actually open extended hours, so all my staff staggers their schedule. So it allows them, if they don't get off work till 5 o'clock, they can actually transfer to a different case manager's, you know, that works a later shift, or maybe they work thirds and they want to come in and see their officer at 7 a.m. We can do that. So because of those things, to answer your question, it allows it to be spaced out enough. We also have staff that does court. So I don't have case managers that are trying to juggle going to court, handling their case management, trying to refer out for their classes, or trying to facilitate drug screens, because those are outsourced as well. It allows that opportunity for those case managers to 100% focus just on their case management. I always look at it in the way that, you know, if you've ever done restaurant work, if you're trying to handle, you know, 10 tables, you might make more money that night, but your service is not going to be on point. So that's how I always think about it. As long as you allow that employee to have minimal focus on what their job actually is versus trying to juggle other facets of the department, then their service to that person is going to be exceptional.
Other questions, comments?
Motion to approve?
Motion approved. Commissioner Oliver.
Second.
Have a second. Commissioner Beverly. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Report is approved. Thank you. Good report. Correction Work Center. And the report tonight is given by Captain Jason Smitty.
Good evening. If you take a look at our report, you'll see our monthly Work Center board meeting. Work release stats, everything's going well with that program. We recently were requested for 5 new positions, so we'll be putting more people out on that program. Our yearly activity report, you can see our population staying about the same. Our total trash collected on county roads were 13,328 pounds. State routes, 680 bags collected. And we sent out 266 workers for a savings of $75,824. And that's my report.
Questions on the report?
Mr. Chairman, comment more than a question. I see Lieutenant Peralta's here. He and I have not had the opportunity to meet in person, but we have corresponded quite a bit back and forth. And every time I've asked him, hey, can you check out a road or something out in the county in District 6, within a day or two, it's cleaned up, brand new. So we appreciate the work you and your team are doing. Just wanted to acknowledge that. So thank you, sir.
Appreciate those shout outs.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
Motion approved, Commissioner
Second.
Beverly. Second, Commissioner McMurray. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Report is approved. I believe you have a budget amendment.
Yes, I do. We're looking to move $10,000 from line 160, which is our guards line, move it to 187, which is overtime pay. The reason for that is around October of last year, we had a position that was reclassified, and finance took that money from our overtime line because that was the line that had more of a variable. But as we got closer to the end of the year, we're going to need more money to cover that. And we had positions open, so we have money available in our normal guards line.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Oliver, and second by Commissioner Beverly.
I do have a question, sir.
Okay.
You said you had positions open. Are those positions going to be eliminated, or?
No. They were just, so every time we hire somebody, so let's just say you were working for us and you put in a 2-week notice, we start the hiring process. By the time they get through MMPI, the mental health exams, drug testing and things like that, a few weeks pass. So there's always a small gap of pay. So do you see what I'm saying? So there's always a little bit of money that's not constantly filled.
Other questions? Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno, Commissioner
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Mr. Oliver,
Aye.
Mr. Beverly,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, sir. Juvenile detention. Good evening, Director Lynn Duke.
Good evening. So before you, you have our report for the month of April. I can report that on the front of the first page, Cheatham County check came in today, so we don't have anybody that is owing any of their detention bed fees. In addition to our usual report information, I have also included the April 2023 board minutes, and will answer any questions that y'all may have.
Questions or comments? Commissioner
Has
Rather?
it been resolved, the MOU between the Board of Education and us?
Yes, so we took that through to the two following committees. I went through budget, and then I also went through the full committee, and I have the mayor's signature on that as well.
The language change, or did?
Yes, it did
stay-
change. Nick Christensen made some adjustments to how it read. He got together with the Board of Education attorney, and I think that they basically reworded that entire paragraph, let's call it, section. So, but to everyone's agreement, and so, as I said, that went through both boards, it was approved, and then next year, when we go through this process again, it will be the new and updated language.
Thank you.
Other questions?
As a follow-up, with the change in the paragraph, did that change the intent of the document at all?
No, it distinguished, I didn't bring it with me, but it distinguished that it was with Rutherford County Juvenile Detention, and don't quote me, but as through and by Rutherford County. So it sort of distinguished that, yes, it is with the Juvenile Detention Department, but that the department is part of the county as a whole. And they were both pleased with how it read. And then where that started was with our board member, and then I took that back to her, or the entire board, and let them see that it was revised and that what that final language looked like.
Other questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved, Commissioner Oliver.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Rather. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, report has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Emergency services. Director Chris Clark, and I believe you've got grants in a multitude of items.
Yes, sir. Committee chairman, good evening. It's nice weather outside. 3 minutes, I got you. In front of you, hopefully you have our report for April 18th through May the 16th. A couple of things that I point out is we continued the recovery efforts in Readable and Eagleville. FEMA has been present. We've had multiple meetings, and so far things seem to be running smoothly. I'd like to remind everybody to wear their life jackets as it gets a little warmer out and kayakers and boaters are out. Make sure that they wear their life jackets, and the ones that are on motorboats wear the kill switches. We've already had a couple incidents already here in the last couple weeks. Also in there is our radio report. If you have any questions with that, I'd be glad to answer. Also, at the back of our report, I pulled a Brian Gaither EMS directors. There's some thank you notes that we received from the tornado response from Readable, which I thought was very nice. And that's my report, and I entertain any questions.
Questions on the report?
Move to approve.
Second.
Move to approve the report, Commissioner Rather, second by Commissioner Sereno. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Report has been approved.
The second item, I have a budget amendment. A few months ago, we actually totaled a fleet vehicle. It was a pickup truck. We received $33,725 from that insurance claim. We would like to make a budget amendment from $599, $20,000, and then $4,000 from data processing supplies, so that we can move to purchase another pickup truck.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Mr. Beverly. Have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner James. Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Got it. Thank you.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
The next item on our agenda is the Homeland Security Grant for fiscal year 2022. We were requesting to allow the mayor to execute this contract, which is a sum of $111,208. This was a grant that we were requested to apply. This is 100% reimbursable. This is something that we do annually.
What is the typical timeline for reimbursement?
Usually it's about a year. It's dealing with the federal government, and then it usually takes around a year.
Other questions or comments or a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved. Commissioner
Second.
Beverly. Second, Commissioner McMurray.
Question.
Please. Yes.
And you said this is something you guys do this annually?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been doing this?
So after 9/11, Homeland Security provided funding for emergency service public safety for our homeland, for Homeland Security. Since 2001, after the 9/11 event, that funding has been available, and we've done that annually since then. The monies have kind of deplenished to a certain extent versus back in 2002, 2005. However, it's still there and in place.
Thank you.
Other discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
The next item is actually still on Homeland Security, and we're requesting to apply for 2023 Homeland Security. And this year is a kind of a bonus. Nashville was selected to be an urban area security initiative, which has been that way in the past, but now reinstated that. So there's a little extra money there as well. And so we're requesting to apply for the Homeland Security 2023, possibly another motion for the UASCI's grant as well. And it's all under Homeland Security.
Do we need to have a motion to approve for this grant?
I so move to approve.
Commissioner Sereno moves to approve. We have a second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Beverly. Further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next, I have two interlocal agreements, one being with the city of Eagleville and the other for the town of Smyrna, for the first responder, medical first responder interlocal agreement. These two departments would respond with our EMS, as do Rutherford County Fire, Murfreesboro Fire, and such. After review by Nick Christensen, our county attorney, we're requesting that we hopefully approve for the mayor to execute this once those two entities review the interlocal agreement and be able to move forward. A lot of this has to do with timing as far as the meetings and things like that to get this initiated. So once they review, our request is once it comes back from Smyrna and Eagleville with the basically the legalities, the substance in there is solid, have the mayor to sign, go ahead and sign the interlocal agreements.
So you're primarily asking that you are given permission to go forward to present these interlocal agreements?
Correct. And then once they return from Smyrna and Eagleville, allow the mayor to execute those.
We're talking about both of them at the same time.
However you wish.
Are these done, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, are these done on an annual basis?
No, these are actually new. These are our Eagleville friends and our Smyrna friends are wanting to respond to these incidents to assist EMS in those endeavors, which is greatly needed in those areas. Number one, due to call volume. Number two is severity, and would make a big impact on patient survivability.
Do we have money involved in these?
No, sir. There's not any money involved in this. It's an agreement, and it'll probably be some on the entities themselves as far as purchasing medical supplies and getting those prepped. There is some, in the interlocal agreement, it talks about having quarterly meetings and making sure that we're doing the best for our patients, and how it would flow as far as operational with our medical directors and what they approve and what they don't. So it's going to make a big impact on the response in those areas.
Question.
Mr. James.
I'm kind of confused in what you're asking for us to vote for on this one, because I see a draft at that. I don't see a finished product or anything for us to decide on, and I see only 2 of our 4 municipalities involved on it. So I'd like to kind of understand what you're actually asking of us, and I'm very weary of giving my thumbs up for anything that's not a completion that has the chance to be altered or changed, the diameters of it after the decision is made.
So the legal substance of this is solid and reviewed by our city attorney. Currently, the interlocal agreements with the other municipalities are already in place. They've been in place. Murfreesboro County, Laverne, all of those others. Due to the timing of these interlocal agreements, which believe in June we will not be meeting, is that correct? July we will not be meeting. It was our hopes that if you would approve, once it comes back from Smyrna and Eagleville, that the mayor, with review of Nick and our county attorneys and their city attorneys, would be able to go ahead and execute that interlocal agreement.
Chairman, if I'm kind of to sum it up, RCEMS is still rolling to the same calls.
Absolutely.
Nothing is changing on county-provided services.
Correct.
This is just an interlocal agreement. If these municipalities want to roll their own fire departments, it's an agreement for them to take on an added burden. It is not changing anything that we are really offering to the public, correct?
That is very correct.
And this is only giving them the opportunity to move on with these agreements. That's all we're doing.
I'd make a motion to approve, just clarifying, it's not changing the operations of Rutherford County EMS. The only difference is Smyrna Fire or Eagleville Fire will probably show up on the scene if it's under Exhibit A.
Correct, and they would work under our medical director as quoted by the Tennessee Code Annotated.
Second.
Have a second? There's no money involved, so I'm just going to call for the motion.
I did have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Should anything change in this draft as they're looking at it? Will this come back before this body? Or
Yeah.
are you asking us to authorize the mayor to approve any changes that could occur?
So if any legalities would have changed, yes, it would come back to this committee. As far as operational, then we could change them and the mayor could sign off on it.
Any other questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Oppose? Okay, let it be recorded, we have one no. Motion carries.
I believe that's all I have.
Okay. I said a
I think.
multitude of things, so I think we covered it. All right, emergency medical services. Melanie Masoto is with us tonight. It's been a while. Been a while. I hadn't seen you in a while.
First of all, I wanted to state that this is National EMS Week, and I would like to acknowledge all of our paramedics and EMTs and let them know how much we appreciate everything they do. For April, we had 3,363 calls. 20 of those were inter-facility transfers. Response time was 7.2 minutes. We had 159 DOAs. 25 of those were sent for autopsies. On the 911 side, we had collections of $763,907. The next page, we have in-services and our community relations and medical standbys at special events. The next page, our convalescent division had 500 calls, and their collections were $147,707. We have some thank you notes. And there's one patient update from Vanderbilt Life Flight. And that concludes our report.
Questions on the report?
Motion to approve.
Move to approve. Mr. Beverly approves report, second by Commissioner James. Other questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Report is approved. I believe you have a budget amendment.
We have a few budget amendments. The first one, we would like to transfer $15,000 from our accountant's bookkeeper's line item into the supervisor director. We had promotions to captains this year, and the ones who were promoted had more experience. So we were running a little short, and we had one vacancy in the office, the accountant's bookkeepers. We're just requesting to move that into the supervisor director line item. Do you want me to do all of them?
Yeah, you have them all on the same report, I believe.
Yes. The second one, we're requesting to transfer $200 in from vehicle maintenance and repair service into our pest control. It's not a lot, but we added, the fire department was paying for pest control at the Rockville supply station that was formerly the fire department. We took that over this year, so we were running a little short in pest control. And the last one, we're requesting to transfer $8,000 from office equipment. Our $8,000 was in there to purchase a copier, and we decided to lease that instead. So we are requesting to transfer the $8,000 and $10,000 from vehicle parts into drugs and supplies, drugs and medical supplies. The price of drugs, medical supplies have skyrocketed. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
You've seen the request on the budget amendment. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Oliver.
Second.
Second, Commissioner McMurray. Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come back to see us again. Fire and Rescue. Chief Larry Farley.
Good evening. For the month of April, we had 9 structure fires, 285 medical calls, 81 MVAs. 4 of those were entrapments. 600 for a call volume of 639 calls for the month of April. Year to date, we have run 2,352 calls. Countywide and counting, including the volunteer runs, we've had 41 structure fires, 69 brush fires, 35 vehicle fires, 431 MVAs. 14 of those were entrapments, for a total of 3,020 calls countywide. And you'll notice I've got Kittrell oranged out because of course they're shut down now. They won't be making any more calls. And we are fully operational out there now with a full-time crew. And then the next list is what I send to the codes department. And also I send that to Rob Mitchell's office. Because if there's enough damage, he will give them a cut on their taxes if there's major damage. The next document is our fire arson investigation unit and the details of the status of that investigations. And last but not least is the list of the illegal burns that we respond to. That concludes my report.
Questions, comments, or we'll entertain a motion on the report.
Move to approve.
Have a motion to approve. And second, Commissioner Oliver. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The report has been approved.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Other business?
Hey, can I make a comment?
Okay.
I want to echo what Director Clark talked about with boats. I think we've had 9 deaths in Tennessee so far. And Memorial Day's coming up. I've been on a boat with my wife and kids, and a fire broke out in the engine compartment. It was an inboard. Scariest thing I've ever been through. But we had a fire extinguisher that was not expired, and it worked well, and everything was fine. I've also been on another lake. I've been on lakes my entire life. I was at Tim's Ford, and a Mastercraft ran into the side of my Skeeter bass boat. And that was horrible. It was Dave Ramsey's son that hit me, and it cost him a lot of money to fix my boat and pay the TWRA citations. A life jacket, #1. I know I don't have a big audience here, but y'all can spread the word. Life jacket #1 Number 2 is that kill switch. That kill switch and life jacket can save your lives. And understand the rules of the lake. We pass on the right just like we do on the roads. We read to the right, stay to the right, especially down a creek. But anyway, just pass the word, tell everybody you know it's on the lake, be safe, use your head, wear a life jacket, and a kill switch. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anything else?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Again, along the lines of public safety. I presented before our commission a gun safety resolution to support Governor Lee, and I was asked to submit that to steering, which I spoke with Chairman Harris as well as emailed the steering committee and did not receive a response. And as this is public safety, just like boat safety and other things, I would like to present that to this committee. I can email you the resolution for you to consider putting on our agenda next month to support gun safety. It's common sense gun safety. It has nothing to do with your Second Amendment rights. My family owns guns, but it's just a matter of supporting Governor Lee, which I never in a million years thought I would support anything that Governor Lee did. But I think it's just common sense. It's something for us to consider. I mean, heaven forbid that it happens again and it happens to one of our loved ones. I just think even though we don't draft policy, I think as a body we could support. So I just wanted to put that out there.
So you're saying you're wanting it on next month's agenda?
Right, and I would give everybody a copy of the resolution that I read for their consideration so we can discuss it at our meeting next month.
You know, I could basically say, and I think we have another member of steering sitting here, I think, were they not waiting for, I thought they were expecting you to be there that night. I think that's, but in fact, we have two there.
Yeah, I didn't get a response at all. And when I spoke with Chairman Harris, I offered to be there, and he said to email everybody, and that's what I did, and I didn't get a response. And so I didn't know whether to be there or not.
Yes,
I would say, being there that night, I read what you sent. I didn't want to deliberate over email. I figured we were doing an open forum, and I was expecting you there that night. And I guess a little bit of communication could have gone further, but that was what my expectation was.
So if you want it earlier, you might want to try steering again. It'll be the earlier meeting because you're waiting till the end of next month.
Well, I know the session isn't until August anyway, but I can submit it to steering again.
Might want to submit it there, but what you need to do is be there that night if it's going to be your motion, you need to be there.
Well, like I said, I did speak to Chairman Harris. I did email steering. I did see the agenda. It was not on there, and I didn't receive a response, so I didn't know to be there.
I think it was
but I can
other
do
business.
that.
I think it was
I
talking
can
about
make a
other
plan
business.
to be
I think
there.
it's figuring other business. Yeah, that's what I was just getting here from Rachel. That agenda will be sent out probably this coming up because that's on a holiday weekend when that agenda goes out. So if you'll want to get that in that agenda on steering, you might want to make a contact.
If you have talked to Craig and it's okay to put that on the agenda, because I always confirm with my chairman what's going on that agenda for that particular coming up meeting. That agenda would go out normally on Monday. Of course, that is a holiday, so it's going to go out Tuesday. So just confirm that we're going to put it out on there, and I'll be glad to add it to the steering agenda.
But that'd be your earlier date. That's just what I was just thinking. Yeah. Okay. Other business, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Oliver, have you bounced that off of legal as it relates to their input?
I have not.
That resolution?
The night that I presented it to the commission, I was asked to go to steering first. So that's why I spoke to Commissioner Harris first.
I'm just wondering if, and I'm not sure, I just don't, I'm just asking that question. Should should you send a copy to Nick Christensen? It might be a good idea to do that.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Other comments, questions? If not, we are getting ready, and we've had the comments here concerning this is Memorial Day weekend. I mentioned this in Planning Commission this morning. Just to remind you that this is Memorial Weekend. Remember what it's all about. It's not about the hot dogs and hamburgers and riding on the lake or whatever, but it's to remember those who's given it all. And also at 1:30 on Sunday afternoon at our National Battlefield out here, they have a wonderful memorial ceremony, usually with a speaker, and it's to honor those who have given us this service. And a good recognition, great service to recognize our Gold Star mothers. So if you're available Sunday afternoon at 1:30, I encourage you to come out there and be a part of that program. If not, we are adjourned. Thank you, Commissioners.